paths with content designed to fit your interests. No sifting to find exactly what you need so you can spend your time learning to trade brilliantly. Learn more at schwab.com/trading.
This is the legendary WHIO, the king of sports in Ohio. We've got the biggest sports teams and leagues on both radio and TV. This year, we're proud to be the home of NFL with Cincinnati Bengals football on Channel 7. The Southwest Ohio home of the Cleveland Browns on WHIO Radio. The biggest Big Ten games during the season every Saturday, including Ohio State football. The CBS NFL Game of the Week. The home of University of Dayton basketball and football. The Touchdown 7 high school football games of the week. The Dayton home of March Madness, the Masters, and PGA Championship. When it comes to the absolute biggest sports brands, WHIO Radio and Television is the king of Dayton sports. WHIO, Dayton's news, talk, and sports station. Breaking news all morning. The Storm Center 7 forecast to start your day and triple team traffic. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News on this Friday. Coca-Cola has officially brought back one of its most iconic 1980s flavors, Diet Cherry Coke. It's hitting shelves with a vintage makeover, but only for a limited time. 72 degrees right now in Dayton at 7:08.
I might have to get some of that. 8 minutes after 7 o'clock, I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, Brittany, a man is now headed to prison for leading police on a 40-mile chase. We're talking about Joseph Hitchcock, who drove the wrong way on I-75 near the Dayton Mall.
Hitchcock pleaded guilty, and a judge sentenced him to 2 years in prison. The chase ended when officers used a canine and drone to find Hitchcock near a pond in Trotwood.
That is News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright. Meanwhile, in Richmond, Indiana, a traffic stop results in the arrest of a man on a scooter who had drugs on him.
Cops there say the stop was made when the scooter rider failed to stop at a stop sign. Officers say the rider, 25-year-old Skylar Goodwin, was armed and in possession of suspected meth. He was arrested for possession.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels reporting. Jail records say he's being held on $7,500 bond in the Wayne County Jail. Bringing you up to speed on what else is happening. The U.S. House passing the first DOGE cuts with a $9.4 billion rescission package that makes cuts to public broadcasting.
During the debate, Democrats like Connecticut Representative Rosa DeLauro argued that the cuts to public broadcasting and U.S. aid were cruel.
This is a bill to codify the right of billionaires, to rubber stamp the right of billionaires to steal from rural and vulnerable American communities, children, the global poor.
Republicans like Florida Representative Aaron Bean said these cuts were pretty simple.
No more tax dollars to fund DEI programs in Serbia. No more tax dollars to fund DEI musicals in Ireland.
Speaker Johnson said this was just the beginning and that they will move to codify additional DOGE-identified cuts.
That is Fox's Jessica Rosenthal reporting. In entertainment news, James Bond's legacy hits the auction block.
A massive collection of 007 memorabilia spanning from Ian Fleming's novels to Daniel Craig's Final Mission goes to auction at Heritage Auctions. The lot includes rare posters, signed merchandise, props, and collectibles from every Bond era.
That is Fox's Michelle Polino reporting.
This is WHIO continuing news.
And the Clark County Animal Shelter is full, and staff are looking for a few good homes for all those doggies.
For the next few days, all dog adoptions are just $77, and each will include spay and neuter, vaccines, microchip, license, and a free vet check.
That is WHIO's Ron Auto reporting. You can find more information at clarkcountyohio.gov. I can't get another dog, but I wonder if they'd let me just show up and pet the dogs. That's what I want to do. I love doing that. WHIO News Time, 7:11.
And we're going to get your 5-day weather forecast this morning from Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz.
83 degrees today with scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly throughout the afternoon and evening. 68 tomorrow morning, 80 tomorrow afternoon. All day we have a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. 82 on Sunday, scattered showers and thunderstorms a little more likely throughout the morning. The heaviest of the rain will stay south of 70. Then it becomes a little more widespread to isolated as we move into the evening on Sunday. Monday, scattered thunderstorms. Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, roughly around 85 degrees.
Right now, the Live Doppler 7 radar is mainly clear. You could see a sprinkle out there, but nothing heavy falling. It's 69 degrees in Huber Heights, 68 in Xenia, 72 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Refresh your ride with brand new tires at unbeatable prices. Plus, buy 4 new tires and get 4 free oil changes, an additional $300 value. Make an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
And we get a traffic update from Jake Magnotta.
Yeah, Brittany, with a little bit of rain that we've had this morning, it is not really going to affect your drive too much if you're heading out to the interstate. So driving conditions still close to normal right now. And crashes, we have none right now if you're heading out to 75, 76, 75. Nothing slowing us down. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
Well, the Daily Dot says the Man of the Year trend is exploding on TikTok. It involves women sarcastically nominating their former boyfriends and husbands for Man of the Year while highlighting their cheating, bad behavior, and previous abuses. And more protesting expected to happen this weekend, but they don't have anything to do with ICE. We've got details in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 7:13.
Here at WHIO, we listened to what you want in a news and talk station. What you said is that it's important to report the news right down the middle and then let you decide what you think about it. It's not our job to convince you to think a certain way. It's our job to report the news, give you both sides, and be fair and honest. That's a promise we've made since 1935. We're honored you've chosen us as Dayton's news and talk station. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. Depend on it.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
I know by now you've probably heard the story about the 8-year-old who ordered 70,000 Dum-Dums on Amazon at a cost of $4,200. The Dum-Dums show up at the house, and the mom's like, what is happening here? Figures out what her 8-year-old son's done. And Amazon says, life's tough. You got all these dum-dums. After all kinds of media coverage, Amazon backed down. But the point is something you got to know. When you give your kids access to your cell phone when they're really young or whatever, they work their way around there. And any app that you can purchase things on, you need to have password protected within your phone so that your child can't order who knows what, and then you get stuck with it. It's really dumb to get stuck.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto. June 8th, 1869, Ives McGaffey patents the first vacuum cleaner, calling it a sweeping machine. June 10th is famous for deaths. Alexander the Great in 323 BC, mobster John Gotti in 2002, and in 2023, Ted Kaczynski.
The man known as the Unabomber died while serving 4 consecutive life sentences, decades after his reign of terror gripped the nation.
June 12th, 1942, Anne Frank gets a diary for her 12th birthday. June 13th, 1922, Charlie Osborne gets the hiccups, and they don't stop. For 68 years, the longest recorded attack of the hiccups ever. June 14, 1775, the First Continental Army is formed, marking the beginning of the United States Army. For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto.
The area's only all news and talk radio station. That means we're talking about what you're talking about. Miami Valley's Morning News continues on WHIO.
Good morning. It is 7:15. I'm Brittany Otto here on Miami Valley's Morning News with the 3 big things that you need to know. Some delays possible today in Fairborn as a superload travels from the Fairborn Railroad site to the AES substation on Dayton Senior Road. In Butler County, a 7-year-old has drowned in his family's swimming pool. And it is our top story this morning. Israel has attacked Iran's capital in strikes that targeted the country's nuclear program.
Yeah, and Brittany, this has raised the potential for an all-out war between the two bitter Middle East adversaries. WHIO's Benjamin Fritkiss continues our team coverage of this developing story this hour.
It appeared to be the most significant attack Iran has faced since its 1980s war with Iraq. Multiple sites around the country were hit, including Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility, where black smoke could be seen rising into the air. The leader of Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, a general, and the chief of staff of Iranian armed forces were all confirmed dead, representing a significant blow to Tehran's governing theocracy and an immediate escalation of its long-simmering conflict with Israel.
Now, coming up at the bottom of the hour, you're going to want to stay tuned, and we're going to tell you how Senator Bernie Moreno is responding to this developing situation. A man is taken to the hospital after an officer-involved shooting yesterday afternoon in Dayton.
At some point, he does get out of the vehicle with what appears to be a handgun in his right hand and runs. Officers engage him at that point, and one of our officers does discharge his handgun. One shot that we believe.
If you recognize the voice, that is the police chief. Officers say they were trying to get to a stolen car in the area of Hoover and Miller Avenues. And the police chief said the man it was shot is at the hospital and is in stable condition. We're going to be hearing it from the police chief again today. We'll keep you posted. Now, after yesterday's local police-involved shooting, we checked, and the last officer-involved shooting in Dayton was in October.
On Rosedale Avenue, police said they tried for 30 minutes to de-escalate a situation. Taylor Cotton was having mental health crisis and threatened to shoot his mother. Cotton pointed a gun at officers, and they shot him. Later, investigators realized that gun was not loaded.
Yeah, that is News Center 7's James Brown reporting. A protest against the Trump administration expected to take place this weekend around the country as part of what organizers are calling No King's Day. Brevard County, Florida Sheriff Wayne Ivey issuing a warning to any protesters who turn to violence ahead of the protest.
If throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
And the protest expected to take place at the same time President Trump is planning to hold a military parade in Washington. Locally, Dayton cops make an arrest in a deadly shooting that happened last month.
20-year-old Danny Gladden Jr. is in the Montgomery County Jail on suspicion of murder. Officers found the body of 19-year-old Darian Jones on the late morning of May 29th on West Grand Avenue. 911 callers say they saw people running in the area after hearing gunshots, and an SUV was left behind with a victim.
And here's WHIO's Ron Otto reporting. And in Logan County, where we now know that a Lakeview man was seriously injured over a weekend crash of a motorcycle there.
Sheriff's report says 59-year-old James Kaufman veered off the right side of State Route 708 just west of Route 235 and struck a guardrail, causing him to be ejected. The crash report says he was not wearing a helmet.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels reporting. He was taken to Lima Memorial Hospital with suspected serious injuries. WHIO News Time is now 7:19.
And we're going to get your 5-day weather forecast as we head into the weekend with Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Britz.
83 this afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms a possibility. 1 or 2 maybe strong, nothing severe. 68 tomorrow morning. 80 tomorrow afternoon with rain expected all day. Hit or miss. Not a complete washout. Just pay attention to live Doppler 7. Saturday will be the best chance for rain. Father's Day. Rain will be better chanced on the front half of the day with a few rumbles of thunder. Once again, nothing severe. It becomes a little more isolated on the back half of the day. 84 on Monday. 85 on Tuesday, both with the chance of a few thunderstorms.
Looking at the live Doppler 7 radar right now, nothing heavy is falling anywhere in the Miami Valley, but can't rule out a possible sprinkle somewhere. It's 68 degrees in Piqua, 72 in Vandalia, 72 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Expert brake repair you can trust. Make sure you can stop when you need to the most. Get a little peace of mind by making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
And here's Jake Magnotta.
Brittany, it's pretty easy to navigate the roads right now. Weather isn't too bad, and there are no reports of any accidents. And for our highway commuters, right now not dealing with any major slowdowns. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
A former English teacher from Denver, Colorado, on trial for giving 2 students pot-laced brownies as a reward. Sharon Wilson, who denies the allegations, claims the brownies may have been from a freezer-burned batch. The students testified after they ate the brownies, things started to spin and look weird. One of the students said they ate a large amount of fried chicken and macaroni and cheese once they got home, then took a long nap. The brownies were tested and came back positive for THC. And a shakeup to how you pay for things electronically. Details in our in-depth impact story. That's in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time is 7:21.
A lot of weird stuff happens around here overnight. That's why we feature Dayton's only all-news morning show. Catch up and know what's going on every morning. Miami Valley's morning news is on WHIO. WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it. The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
What's up, Miami Valley? Here's what's happening. The Versailles Poultry Days Festival's going on this weekend in the village of Versailles. Live entertainment, lots of food, flower show, and lots of fun. Festival's going to run through Sunday. The St. Christopher Festival, that's going on this weekend in Vandalia. Lots of food, drinks, music, rides, and games. Friday 6 to 11, Saturday 1 to 11, and Sunday noon to 6. Celtic Fest Ohio, that's going on over at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. That's in Waynesville. Food, beer, Celtic music, and more. Festival's going to begin at 11 a.m. and go till 10 p.m. Yellow Springs Street Fair, that's going on in downtown Yellow Springs. That's going to be on Saturday. Lots of vendors, food, music, beer, and more. Festival starts at 11 a.m. It's going to run through 7. And movies topping the box office this weekend include Lilo and Stitch, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. With your WHIO Weekend Preview, I'm Chris Hartley.
What is the WHIO Storm Center? It means when you hear these tones, you are just a few minutes away from emergency weather information. Weather is our #1 priority. The Storm Center 7 forecast is always on the radio. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. And when News Center 7 is in wall-to-wall weather coverage mode, you'll always hear it simulcast on WHIO radio. That means you can take your radio to your safe spot and hear exactly what's happening with severe weather. When it comes to weather, we don't mess around.
This is Pause Before You Play, and it's time for more game day picks from local sports fans. You're on the air. Who you got?
Actually, I'm not betting, just chilling and watching the game.
I know that move, a pause. Sounds like you've got a winning strategy.
Exactly. After I set limits and recognized the risk, I knew it was time to stop.
Now that is responsible betting, folks. Sports are fast. Betting shouldn't be. Make a plan at pausebeforeyouplay.org. That's pausebeforeyouplay.org.
Cars don't just move Americans. Cars move our economy. Right now, over 716,000 Americans work for international auto brands right here at home, earning $48 billion in paychecks and driving $71 billion in parts and service sales. But new tariffs will raise the cost of vehicles and repairs, giving us less vehicle selection and fewer jobs. Tell Washington, keep cars affordable. Contact your representative today. Go to saveautojobs.com.
Nothing is more frustrating than sitting on 75 in traffic and not knowing what's going on. Your phone, not so helpful. That's why we're the home of Triple Team Traffic. Every 10 minutes, WHIO is Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it. Dayton's only all-local news radio station. The power of WHIO Radio and News Center 7 means you'll know first. This is Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Good morning. Thanks for listening to Miami Valley's Morning News. I'm Brittany Otto. Newsweek magazine says the New England Patriots will unveil a Tom Brady statue August 8th before their game against the Commanders. The bronze statue will honor Brady's career and Super Bowl success. 72 degrees right now in Dayton at 7:25.
And that is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Brittany, our next area of low pressure coming in, and then it stalls over the top of the Ohio Valley just in time for Father's Day weekend.
Our best chance of rain will come in through the afternoon and evening for today, but Saturday is really overall the greatest chance for rain. All day, hit or miss showers and thunderstorms. Pay attention to live Doppler 7. Sunday, not a complete deluge. The front half of the day will be pretty wet, and south of 70 will be some of the heaviest of the rain. But on the back half of Sunday for your Father's Day, you could probably head out and about. Just pay attention to radar once again. It becomes a little more isolated.
That is Storm Center 7 and meteorologist Briley Ritz.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
Let's get you right to the WHIO Impact Story, which means we take you in depth on a major story every hour. PayPal and Google Wallet will no longer be together starting soon.
Following PayPal's announcement last year that it would no longer let users link their accounts to wallet apps, Google Wallet will soon no longer have PayPal in the app as a payment method. If you've been using PayPal in your Google Wallet, it will likely self-delete in the next week. As a workaround, you can make purchases using PayPal directly or with PayPal's app. You can use another card in your Google Wallet, but if you have PayPal's debit MasterCard, that card can be added to the Google Wallet app. The same rules apply for Samsung Wallet.
That is Fox's Eben Brown reporting. WHIO News Time, 7:26.
Well, the weekend is upon us. Let's find out what's happening in the Miami Valley, sponsored by James Free Jewelers.
The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
For Sales Poultry Days Festival is happening this weekend in the Village of For Sales. Live entertainment, lots of food, flower show, and lots of fun. Festival's going to run through Sunday. Eaton Community Fun Fest, that's happening on Saturday. That's going to be in the city of Eaton. Lots of food, live music, inflatables, games, and fun. The event kicks off at 3 p.m. It's going to run through 7. Wine Fest, that's going on over at the Green. That's going to be tomorrow night. The band Party Punch will be performing. The event begins at 5 p.m. It's going to run through 9. And Celtic Fest Ohio is happening. That's over at the Ohio Renaissance Festival in Waynesville. Food, beer, and lots of Celtic music. Festival begins at 11 a.m. It's going to run through 10 p.m. Getting you out into the Miami Valley, I'm Chris Hartley, 1290 95.7 WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
We're in a tougher time. Most families are having a rougher time right now. The after effects of years of inflation that thankfully has moderated, but the effect's already there. And maybe things are tough for you at work or you own your own business. You've got kids. You need to really be clear with them, age appropriate, what's going on financially. And your kids are hearing stuff. They're hearing about friends of theirs, parents are getting laid off or whatever. Kids talk. And your kid internalizes that, regardless of the age, and it creates worry in them. The more you share with your child, again, age appropriate, the better it is for them to understand and maybe be part of reducing expenses in your house.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Making a big purchase should come with confidence, not confusion. CarGurus helps you cut through the noise, because when it comes to your big deal, you deserve the best deal. It's no wonder similar web-estimated traffic data shows CarGurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. Buy or sell your next car today with CarGurus at CarGurus.com. Go to CarGurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com.
If you're a renter, you should be taking advantage of Bilt. Bilt racks up points on groceries, travel, and nearly everything else. There's no cost to join, and just by paying rent, you unlock flexible points that can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, and more. Start paying rent through Bilt by going to joinbilt.com/cats. That's JOINBILT.com/KATZ. Make sure you use our URL so they know we sent you. Joinbilt.com/cats to sign up for Bilt today.
This is the station Dayton turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news. WHIO Dayton Springfield, celebrating 90 years of being Dayton's news and talk station. Depend on it.
Good morning. It is 7:30 on Friday, June 13th. That's right, Friday the 13th. I'm Brittany Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News with 3 big things that you need to know. Stray shower or two this morning, a better chance for rain this afternoon and evening with highs in the lower 80s. A man in a stolen car shot by Dayton police remains in the hospital this morning. And it is our top story. Iran retaliating to Israeli airstrikes on the country over Israeli claims that Iran was getting close to a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, Brittany, Fox's Alex Hogan has a new report report for us from Tel Aviv, Israel this morning.
Israel says that it has identified as many as 100 drones launched by Iran heading toward Israeli airspace. And Israel says that it has started to at least attempt to shoot down some of those drones over Syrian airspace as Jordan is attempting to take down some of the drones that are above its airspace. At the same time, Israel's home command urging people that they do not need to stay as close to shelters as they had been in the previous hours, indicating that Israel and the Israeli Defense Force believe at this point that they will be able to take out the incoming threat.
At least 3 military commanders and 6 nuclear scientists were reportedly killed. State Secretary Marco Rubio says the U.S. was not involved in the strikes. President Trump told Fox News he was aware that Israel was going to conduct preemptive strikes on Iran before they happened. Meanwhile, we're hearing from lawmakers from Ohio.
Senator Bernie Moreno talked about the dangers of a nuclear Iran, posting on X, "Red lines are red lines. A nuclear Iran would be the end of Israel, its people, and would destabilize the world. Praying for the safety of our troops, for peace, and for the people of the Middle East."
That is WHIO's Christine Bellino reporting. Now, we're going to continue to follow these developments by the minute, literally, bringing you the latest details here on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
Father's Day weekend is here. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz, and there's rain in the forecast. I'll tell you when you might be able to get out and about and celebrate Dad without getting soaked.
Oh, it's still a nice and smooth Friday morning drive. No crashes or backups. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnato, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
This is Miami Valley's Morning News on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. I'm Brittany Otto.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, back here in Montgomery County, a sprinkler system put out a fire at an apartment in the Dayton Arcade and left some serious damage.
Fire investigators estimated $200,000 of damaged equipment in the iHeart Radio studios. Table 33 restaurant on the ground floor also briefly shut down to clean up water problems.
That is News Center 7's Mike Campbell reporting from the scene. Doctors could not save a 7-year-old who went underwater in his family's swimming pool.
It happened Wednesday in Butler County. The child's mother told crews her son put on snow gear and went into the deep end of the pool. She jumped into the water and pulled him out. Medics flew the boy to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, where he died.
Yeah, it's News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright with that report. A man is in jail this morning, waking up, waiting to hear just how long he is going to go to prison for killing his father.
This is all over a car ride. Just in August, pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and felonious assault. He shot his dad inside a house on Hague Avenue last year in Kettering. August could get upwards of 20 years when the judge sentences him.
That is News Center 7's James Brown. California Governor Gavin Newsom standing up for Senator Alex Padilla after a clash with federal authorities during a Los Angeles press conference with DEH head Kristi Noem.
Anyone that knows Alex Padilla knows one thing about Alex Padilla. He's one of the most mild-mannered, decent people you'll meet. And that's not, don't just take my word for it. Folks on the other side of the aisle would acknowledge that. I thought it was a disgrace.
Now, Noem and Padilla met shortly after the incident. According to Noem, they exchanged numbers and are willing to talk. One area high school baseball team heads to the state semifinals today.
Wapakoneta is one step away from the state title game after beating Toledo St. Francis de Sales 6-5 last Thursday. The Redskins will take on Hunting Valley University School Friday at Akron's Canal Park.
That is WHIO's Ron Otto. A former NFL player wanted for attempted murder.
Antonio Brown reportedly has a warrant out for his arrest following an incident at a boxing event in Miami. A video shows the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer wide receiver appearing to fight in a parking lot. Then a gunshot rang out, sending spectators running. Brown was later seen in handcuffs being led to the back of a police cruiser. The warrant in Miami-Dade County lists a charge of attempted murder with a gun and calls for Brown to post a $10,000 bond.
That is Fox's Chris DeMayo. And a federal judge says President Trump unlawfully deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles. Fox's Kristen Goodwin explained.
California Governor Gavin Newsom argued the administration violated federal law by bypassing him in the Guard call-up and trampled on the state's rights under the 10th Amendment. The DOJ argued the president had the power to federalize the Guard and that Newsom was aware of the order.
He never discussed the National Guard, period, full stop.
The judge siding with California. The DOJ has appealed.
Now, the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals blocked the federal judge's ruling last night and set a hearing for June the 17th. WHIO News Time, 7:35.
Well, we told you about this as breaking news yesterday. An Air India flight crashing minutes after takeoff from an airport. The plane crashed into a hostel and at a medical college. 241 passengers died in the crash. However, a British man sitting in seat 11A survived and walked away from the burning jet. Well, cicadas invading a popular Ohio amusement park. We've got the information you need to hear coming up in 3 minutes. WHO News Time 7:35.
I know it's scary to hear someone tell you to get in your safe spot during a storm. But aren't you glad we're here to say it? Live Storm Center 7 coverage during any weather situation. WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it.
Whatever the weather outside, stay comfortable inside with Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality and comfort matter the most. Our cost-effective systems for your home or office and planned service will save you some bucks. Bucks. That's right, Sarah bucks. That will keep your wallet happy. Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, a reliable local family-owned company that always produces great results. This is Sarah Tanner. Call 299-2500 or go to tannerhvac.com to schedule today. Tanner Heating and Air Conditioning, a name you can trust.
Have no fear, Enting is here. Enting Water Conditioning is now offering an industry-leading 7-year no-fear warranty on our water softener systems. Sleep easy knowing all parts and labor are covered for 7 years after purchase. Learn more at enting.com.
I'm Ron Otto with My Sports Rundown, my take on the big stories in sports. Former Major Leaguer Darren Ruff is suing the Cincinnati Reds. Back in 2023, Ruff slammed into the rolled-up tarp in foul territory at Great American Ballpark and suffered what turned out to be a career-ending knee injury. According to the lawsuit, he suffered permanent and substantial deformities to his knee. His attorney says the Reds ground crew left an unpadded metal roller on the edge of the field, even adding the words reckless and inexcusable. He went on to call it an obvious and avoidable risk. The Cincinnati Reds, as far as they're concerned, they have not commented. Darren Ruff was a solid major leaguer for 4 teams over 11 seasons, and I feel bad for the guy, but teams have been rolling up tarps in foul territory for years, and every player knows the danger of running toward the stands for a foul ball. Heck, Vince Coleman was knocked out of the playoffs and World Series back in 1985 after banging into one. But are major league teams supposed to cover them in bubble wrap every time they roll them away? Talk about a rain delay. I'm Ron Otto, and that's my rundown.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at ChangeTheGameOhio.org. That's ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
Good morning, Dayton. You're waking up with the information you need to start the day. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Miami Valley's Morning News. I'm Brittany Otto. Chick-fil-A testing 2 new sandwiches called the Jalapeno Ranch Club and the Creamy Barbecue Chicken Sandwich. The club has an original chicken filet with pepper jack cheese, caramelized onion-flavored candied bacon, and pickled jalapenos. The barbecue sandwich features creamy barbecue slaw and sweet heat pickle chips.
Stop.
72 degrees now in Dayton at 7:39.
Oh, it sounds so good. 21 minutes here ahead of 8 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Let's get you right to this important story. Investigators searching the site of one of India's worst aviation disasters now a day after the Air India plane crashed.
India's prime minister met with the lone surviving passenger of the crash that killed 241 people on board and several people on the ground. The London-bound Boeing 787 struck a medical college hostel when it fell in a residential area of a northwestern city minutes after takeoff.
Yeah, that report from WHIO's Christine Bellina reporting for us this morning. A word to the wise if you're going to Kings Island soon. Beware of cicadas.
Over the weekend, the creepy bugs found their way to the amusement park where they landed on the shirts of park visitors. Dr. Gene Kritsky of Mount St. Joseph University does, however, have some advice if you're going to be riding the ride soon. Keep your mouth closed when on the ride.
Yeah, it's a good idea. WHIO's Jason Michaels there with that report. A man is taken to the hospital after an officer-involved shooting that happened yesterday afternoon here in Dayton.
At some point, he does get out of the vehicle with what appears to be a handgun in his right hand and runs. The officers engage him at that point.
Now, that is the police chief talking to us. Officers say they were trying to get to a stolen car in the area of Hoover and Miller Avenues. And the police chief said the man who was shot is at the hospital in stable condition. We're going to be hearing from the police chief again today, so stay tuned. Not everyone who's on board with this weekend's parade to celebrate the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army.
About 6 in 10 Americans say Saturday's big event is not a good use of government money, including 80% of Democrats, but 65% of Republicans believe it's a good use of taxpayer dollars.
That's Fox's C.J. Papa reporting. A man has died locally after crashing his motorcycle into a tree Wednesday night.
This happened in Warren County and Turtle Creek Township. Investigators said Matthew Schmitz lost control on a curb on North Waynesville and Hollingsworth Road. He was wearing a helmet.
That's News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
And in sports news, the Stanley Cup final turning into a classic.
The Oilers defeated the Panthers 5-4, and the Cup final is now a best-of-3 series. It was Draisaitl's fourth overtime goal of the playoffs, and the series heads back to Edmonton for Game 5 on Saturday.
That is Fox's Joe Morgan reporting. WHIO News Time, 7:41.
Yeah, we get your 5-day weather forecast on this Friday morning from Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz.
83 degrees today with scattered showers and thunderstorms mainly throughout the afternoon and evening. 68 tomorrow morning, 80 tomorrow afternoon. All day we have a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms. 82 on Sunday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms a little more likely throughout the morning. The heaviest of the rain will stay south of 70. Then it becomes a little more widespread to isolated as we move into the evening on Sunday. Monday, scattered thunderstorms. Tuesday, scattered thunderstorms, roughly around 85 degrees.
Looking at the live Doppler 7 radar right now, things mainly clear in the Miami Valley, though you could see a stray sprinkle out there. It's 70 degrees in Beaver Creek, 69 in Tip City, 72 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Refresh your ride with brand new tires at unbeatable prices. Plus, buy 4 new tires and get 4 free oil changes, an additional $300 value. Make an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
And we get a traffic update now from Jake Magnotta.
Brittany just checking on some areas where we typically start seeing traffic slow down around this time of the morning. 75 north of Dayton and 75 south of Dayton. Not seeing anything right now. Also looking at I-70 in Huber Heights, the construction area. Traffic moving along just fine through here as well. Still no crashes this morning. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
Well, the New York Post and the sleep tracker Sleep Cycle say sleeping on your back is the unhealthiest position because it can lead to snoring, sleep apnea, and heartburn. The safest position is sleeping on your side, particularly your left side, because it can aid digestion, prevent acid reflux, and promote spinal alignment. And a shakeup to the high school football postseason. We've got the details for you in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 7:43.
Here at WHIO, we've talked to a lot of folks recently, and the top concern you have is getting consumer information you need and want. You need to know the scams out there, how you can get ripped off, where to spend your money, and where to save money and make the most out of every dollar. That's why we're proud to have consumer warrior Clark Howard as part of the WHIO team. You'll hear his updates all day long. Clark Howard, only in Dayton on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
So flying this summer is going to be more than just dodging summertime thunderstorms, because as we've seen in Newark, and it's a problem we're going to see in a lot of metro areas, unfortunately, this summer, the extreme shortage of air traffic controllers is going to lead to flight roulette. But what do I mean by this? Before you go to the airport for your flight, I want you to go online and use the app FlightAware to see if your flight is actually on time. And you can click to see, where's my plane now? And you can see if there's a delay earlier somewhere else that might impact you flying out later, or a plane that's going to be canceled. You know that extra early to try to get rebooked by your airline.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at ChangeTheGameOhio.org. That's ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
When it comes to Father's Day, dads want steak. And there's still time to deliver uncompromising quality and flavor with delicious gifts from America's original butcher, Omaha Steaks. Plus, get an extra $35 off with code THANKSDAD when you shop at omahasteaks.com today. Hurry, there's still time to give Dad something incredible for the big day. Shop now at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with code THANKSDAD. Minimum purchase may apply. See site for details.
Together with the resources of News Center 7, you're on Dayton's #1 news team. Now, back to Miami Valley's morning news on WHIO.
Good morning. It's 7:45. I'm Brittany Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News with the three big things that you need to know. Some delays possible this morning in Fairborn as a super load travels from the Fairborn Railroad site to the AES substation on Dayton Xenia Road. In Butler County, a 7-year-old is drowned in his family's swimming pool. And it is our top story. Israel struck Iran with multiple airstrikes targeting nuclear sites and military officials.
Yeah, Brittany, this is over Israeli claims that Iran was getting close to a nuclear bomb. And Iran has sent about 100 drones to Israel in retaliation. Iran's supreme leader warns Israel will face severe punishment. Meanwhile, we're hearing from lawmakers from Ohio on this.
Senator John Huston defended Israel's strike by saying it was necessary to stop Iran from becoming a nuclear state. He said on X, a nuclear Iran would be a danger to Israel, the entire Middle East, and the United States. Iran refused to negotiate a peaceful solution or to give up its nuclear ambitions. This limited strike by Israel was a necessary step to thwart Iran's ambition to become a nuclear state.
That is WHIO's Christine Bellino. At the top of the hour, we have a special report from Fox's Alex Hogan from Tel Aviv, Israel. So stay tuned. More changes coming to the high school football playoffs.
The OHSAA announced the number of schools that qualify for the postseason will go from 16 to 12. The association's executive director, Doug Ute, says they received feedback from schools with a majority favoring the 12-team format. The top 4 seeds will receive first-round byes, while seeds 5 through 8 will host a first-round matchup.
And it's WHIO's Parker Tested there reporting. A change in bond for a woman investigators said hit a man after they said he shot 2 Ohio police officers.
A judge has reduced Jayla Call's bond from $250,000 to $50,000. Columbus police arrested her along with Devontae Dixon last week. Investigators said it took them 2 days to find Dixon after he shot the 2 officers northeast of Columbus. One of those officers is still in the hospital.
That's News Center 7's James Brown reporting. South of the Buckeye State, 1 soldier is killed, another injured in a helicopter crash during a training exercise at a Kentucky Army base.
It happened at Fort Campbell, home to several of the Army's air base groups. The training on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. The injured soldier pulled from the wreckage to safety and then taken to a base hospital for treatment. 2 years ago, 2 Black Hawk helicopters collided near Fort Campbell. 9 soldiers died in that mishap.
That is Fox's Gary Baumgarten reporting. Speaking before the White House congressional picnic, President Trump joked about the upcoming forecast since it might rain on the parade set to honor the military's 250th birthday.
I don't think we've ever seen the likes of what you're going to see. I hope the weather's okay, but actually if it's not, that brings you good luck. And that's okay, too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect the tanks at all. It doesn't affect the soldiers.
Yeah, the Army has set aside between $25 million and $45 million for the parade. Democrats criticizing the parade that's scheduled for tomorrow. To Capitol Hill, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, endorses the president's defense bill in front of the House Armed Services Committee.
This budget makes meaningful investments in our service members and their families, improving the quality of life of our service members, medical care, and things important to them like the moving process.
Yeah, so the Pentagon facing criticism for being months behind schedule in releasing a budget, even as they look for nearly $1 trillion in funding. WHIO News Time, 7:49.
Now time for your 5-day weather forecast with Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz.
83 this afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms a possibility. 1 or 2 maybe strong, nothing severe. 68 tomorrow morning. 80 tomorrow afternoon with rain expected all day. Hit or miss. Not a complete washout. Just pay attention to live Doppler 7. Saturday will be the best chance for rain. Father's Day. Rain will be better chanced on the front half of the day with a few rumbles of thunder. Once again, nothing severe. It becomes a little more isolated on the back half of the day. 84 on Monday, 85 on Tuesday, both with the chance of a few thunderstorms.
Looking at the live Doppler 7 radar right now, the Miami Valley appears to be dry, though you could see a stray shower out there. It's 69 in Huber Heights, 70 in Xenia, 72 degrees at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Expert brake repair you can trust. Make sure you can stop when you need to the most. Get a little peace of mind by making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
And we check in now with Jake Magnotta.
Brittany didn't hear about anything since my last report a few minutes ago, so we are certainly at the busiest part of our morning drive on the highways, but everywhere right now, traffic is moving without a problem. There are no slowdowns to avoid. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
Well, the New York Post says llama blood may cure COVID-19. Researchers in Belgium studied the fuzzy animals before discovering that their antibodies can help develop powerful new treatments that work even as the virus mutates. The findings are significant because most drugs stop working as new variants of the virus emerge. And Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. What have you learned from your dad, and what do dads hope to teach their kids? We're going to discuss in 3 minutes. WHO News Time is 7:51.
Nobody likes to be told what to think. That's why we're careful to make sure our news is right down the middle. Both sides and all viewpoints. Then you decide what you think about it. Dayton's News and Talk is WHIO. Depend on it.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto. June 8th, 1869, Ives McGaffey patents the first vacuum cleaner, calling it a sweeping machine. June 10th is famous for deaths. Alexander the Great in 323 BC, mobster John Gotti in 2002, and in 2023, Ted Kaczynski.
The man known as the Unabomber died while serving 4 consecutive life sentences, decades after his reign of terror gripped the nation.
June 12th, 1942, Anne Frank gets a diary for her 12th birthday. June 13th, 1922, Charlie Osborne gets the hiccups, and they don't stop for 68 years, the longest recorded attack of the hiccups ever. June 14th, 1775, the First Continental Army is formed, marking the beginning of the United States Army. For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto.
I'm Parker Testa with the University of Dayton Sports Update. Dayton men's basketball will head to Florida the week of Thanksgiving to compete in the ESPN Events Invitational. Dayton last competed in this event in 2021 when they beat 4th-ranked Kansas in the semifinals in memorable fashion.
Picked up by Amsil. Mustafa fades away. It's good!
Dayton played Belmont in the championship 2 days later and took home hardware.
He throws it the length of the court, and the game is over. The Dayton Flyers have won, and the Dayton Flyers have won the ESPN Events Invitational.
This fall, the Flyers will be joined by BYU, Georgetown, and the Miami Hurricanes in Kissimmee, Florida, November 27th and 28th. The Flyers have an 8-1 overall record in the event. I'm Parker Testa with your University of Dayton Sports Update. You're on the home of the Flyers, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at ChangeTheGameOhio.org. That's ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
Breaking news all morning. The Storm Center 7 forecast to start your day and triple team traffic. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us this Friday morning here on Miami Valley's Morning News. The Daily Star says short man syndrome is now an official condition. Australian researchers studied the condition and say shorter men are more jealous and competitive due to their height. The study also shows that shorter men feel the need to prove themselves against taller rivals to compensate for their shorter stature. 72 degrees right now in Dayton. It is 7:55, and I'm joined this morning by Jeremy Ratliff in the newsroom, Dalton Matthews over there in Master Control.
Good morning.
And guys, Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. Jeremy, I'm sure you're well aware of
Yes,
that.
very well aware, yeah.
We're going to look at the top 10 skills that dads pass on to their children.
Love it.
Coming in at number 10, cooking. Number 9, how to deal with stress or problems. Number 8, how to read a map. 7, leadership. 6, how to change a tire. 5, money management. 4, decision-making skills. 3, repair and maintenance. 2, how to drive a car. And number 1, how to ride a bike. Do any of these hit home with you guys?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. What was the biggest thing off this list that you're like, yeah, my dad taught me that, Jeremy?
So as far as my dad, he probably did all of that. And the only one that I thought of where I was like, maybe not, was cooking. But he taught me how to cook fish, how to fry up fish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that counts as well. So, yeah, I would say the majority, if not all, my dad did a very good job on.
All right, good. How about you, Dalton?
Yeah, I'm the same way. The biggest one was definitely money management.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any advice that you can share with us that he gave to you to help you out with money management?
Well, he always listened to Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
He's a big Dave Ramsey guy.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
And so he kind of got me hooked on it.
Okay, that's a wonderful skill to pass on.
Yeah.
Everybody should know money management skills. Now, Jeremy, as a father yourself now, is there anything that you're really hoping specifically to pass on to your girls?
So driving a car, my wife and I both have kind of helped our oldest on that. Riding a bike, I helped my youngest. She picked that up pretty quick. Yeah, it's reading a map's kind of a funny one to think of now.
Anymore,
you know what I mean? Because it's like I could teach them how to read a map, but number one, I'm sure they could figure it out themselves. And number two, how many people use big maps?
Yeah, it's not really necessary like it was when we were growing up.
Yeah,
Dalton, do you use a map? Have you ever used a map out of curiosity?
Like an actual physical map?
Yeah.
No.
The fact you had to think about
right?
it means definitely no.
Google Maps.
Google Maps, yeah, that's not the same thing.
It is technically a map. It just kind of moves and tells you where to go.
Yeah, it's a map that talks to you and reads itself to you. Yeah.
So Brittany, what about Micah in some of the things on this list? What are some things he's really good at?
Oh, he's fantastic. Like being like a handyman kind of guy, right? Like he can do pretty much anything. And if he doesn't know how, he either YouTubes it or he'll go to somebody who does know how and have them teach him how to do it. Which I think is a great skill. And that's something that he's passed on to both of our kids, like is his work ethic and just showing them how to do things around the house so that you're not reliant on someone else all the time. Yeah. So, all right. Well, to all the dads out there that might be listening right now, happy Father's Day from us to you. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. It might be a little wet out there, but still get together with family and enjoy. All right, well, coming up, we've got more information on our top story that is just rapidly developing throughout the morning. Israel striking Iran with multiple airstrikes. We've got the latest in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time 7:58.
What is the WHIO Storm Center? It means when you hear these tones, you are just a few minutes away from emergency weather information. Weather is our #1 priority. The Storm Center 7 forecast is always on the radio. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. And when News Center 7 is in wall-to-wall weather coverage mode, you'll always hear it simulcast on WHIO radio. That means you can take your radio to your safe spot and hear exactly what's happening with severe weather. When it comes to weather, we don't mess around. The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
What's up, Miami Valley? Here's what's happening. The Versailles Poultry Days Festival's going on this weekend in the village of Versailles. Live entertainment, lots of food, flower show, and lots of fun. Festival's going to run through Sunday. The St. Christopher Festival, that's going on this weekend in Vandalia. Lots of food, drinks, music, rides, and games. Friday 6 to 11, Saturday 1 to 11, and Sunday noon to 6. Celtic Fest Ohio, that's going on over at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. That's in Waynesville. Food, beer, Celtic music, and more. Festival's going to begin at 11 a.m. and go till 10 p.m. Yellow Springs Street Fair, that's going on in downtown Yellow Springs. That's going to be on Saturday. Lots of vendors, food, music, beer, and more. Festival starts at 11 a.m. It's going to run through 7. And movies topping the box office this weekend include Lilo and Stitch, From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. With your WHIO Weekend Preview, I'm Chris Hartley.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on gambling in video and online games? Items like mystery boxes, skins, and spin to win mimic gambling, putting children at a higher risk of experiencing a gambling disorder as an adult. So get in the know about youth gambling and start the conversation with discussion guides, parent resources, and more at changethegameohio.org. That's changethegameohio.org.
This is the station Dayton turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news. WHIO Dayton Springfield, celebrating 90 years of being Dayton's news and talk station. Depend on it.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock on Friday, June 13th. I'm Brittany Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News with the three big things that you need to know. Stray shower or two this morning with a better chance for rain this afternoon and evening. We'll see highs in the lower 80s. A man in a stolen car shot by Dayton police remains in the hospital this morning. And it is our top story. Yesterday on Miami Valley's Morning News, we told you that tensions were rising in the Middle East. This morning, the situation has significantly escalated.
Yeah, we got some new information, Brittany. Iran reportedly sent about 100 drones to Israel. In retaliation, Israeli airstrikes on the country over Israel claims that Iran was getting close to a nuclear bomb. Now, Fox's Alex Hogan has more for us this morning from Tel Aviv, Israel.
Israel says that its fighter jets have just begun striking down some of these drones outside of Israeli airspace. We're also at the same time learning more about the complexity of this mission carried out by the IDF and Mossad that was carried out over not just months, but years. This is all through Operation Rising Lion. Israel says it used 200 aircraft, mainly fighter jets, to strike roughly 100 targets and hit the heart of Iran's nuclear program. Today, Israel says that it destroyed dozens of radar installations and surface-to-air missile launchers.
Yeah, at least 3 military commanders and 6 nuclear scientists reportedly killed. State Secretary Marco Rubio says the U.S. was not involved in the strikes. President Trump telling Fox News he was aware that Israel was going to conduct preemptive strikes on Iran before they happened. And we're going to continue to follow these developing stories throughout the day and the weekend, bringing you the latest details right here on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
The heat's ramping up. Welcome to summertime here in the Miami Valley. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz. I'll tell you whether or not we'll get some cooler air to settle back in.
Well, the last morning commute of the work week has been pretty nice for us. There are still no issues to talk about. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
This is Miami Valley's Morning News on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. I'm Brittany Otto.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, Brittany, a suspect was taken to the hospital after he was shot by an officer here in Montgomery County. And this happening at yesterday afternoon at Miller and Hoover Avenues, just feet from the Dayton city limits.
Dayton's police chief said his officers were working targeted enforcement with the Ohio State Highways Patrol Aviation Unit. Officers had gathered information about a stolen car, and from the air, state troopers helped lead them to Hoover and Miller Avenues. The chief said that is where a man in a pickup truck was blocking officers' way, and they told him to get out of the way. According to the chief, the man did have a gun. He tells us that at some point the man got out of the vehicle with what appeared to be a handgun in his right hand and ran, and that the officers engaged with him at that point, and one of their officers discharged his handgun.
That is WHIO's Benjamin Fridkiss reporting. And the police chief said the man who was shot is at the hospital in stable condition. And now to Greene County. Some drivers there might run into some delays today.
Crews are going to be moving a superload through Fairborn. Crews are going to go from the Fairborn Railroad site, which is on East Xenia Drive, to the AES substation on Dayton Xenia Road.
That is News Center 7's James Brown reporting. 2 local college basketball teams are going to face off over the next 2 seasons.
CBS Sports is reporting the University of Cincinnati and University of Dayton basketball teams are finalizing a home-and-home series this fall at Fifth Third Arena. The return game will be played at UD Arena during the 2026-27 season.
That is WHIO's Parker Testa. Of course, you can listen to every Dayton basketball game right here on the home of the Flyers, WHIO. Well, out west to Richmond, Indiana, not far from here. A traffic stop results in the arrest of a man on a scooter who had drugs on.
Cops there say the stop was made when the scooter rider failed to stop at a stop sign. Officers say the rider, 25-year-old Skylar Goodwin, was armed and in possession of suspected meth. He was arrested for possession.
That's WHIO's Jason Michaels. And in entertainment news, James Bond's legacy hits the auction block.
A massive collection of 007 memorabilia spanning from Ian Fleming's novels to Daniel Craig's Final Mission goes to auction at Heritage Auctions. The lot includes rare posters, signed merchandise, props, and collectibles from every Bond era.
That is Fox's Michelle Polino reporting. WHIO News Time is now 8:05.
Well, the Daily Dot says the Man of the Year trend is exploding on TikTok. It involves women sarcastically nominating their former boyfriends and husbands for Man of the Year while highlighting their cheating, bad behavior, and previous abuses. Stories apparently range from betrayal on Snapchat to horrific life-altering experiences. And we've got new details about President Trump's falling out with Elon Musk. We've got that story in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time is 8:05.
It takes a lot of work and people to put on a live radio station. But being in the moment with us, live and local, is something you can't get anywhere else. WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it. WHIO is the Miami Valley's local station. And here's what's happening at WHIO.com.
Mermaids are coming to the Newport Aquarium. You're able to dive into Mermaid Cove and watch as mermaids swim alongside tropical fish. You have the chance to win 2 tickets for this event. You can sign up now to win at WHIO.com. And the Dayton Air Show will be at the Dayton International Airport on June 21st and 22nd with their 50th celebration. The show will feature food and fun for fans of all ages. Register to win you and your family a 4-pack of tickets now at WHIO.com. And you have the chance to win a Dayton-made gift basket created by First Florist. It includes items from Esther Price Candy, Dots Pretzels, and even the Evening Edge with Todd Holst. I'm Sierra Lawson. Sign up now to win at WHIO.com.
WHIO.com, the Miami Valley's #1 news destination.
Did you know 38% of Ohio's teenagers have spent money on